I was doing some research, casual research on an old tape I had that I picked up in a used store having to do with Muhammad Ali's career, and I discovered there was some footage in there about Joe Louis, who was his third or fourth in the ring. Also, when the fight was over, Joe was up in the ring, and somebody had rudely pushed him aside and was trying to get at Muhammad Ali with all the falderall and things like that. It happens when you were around Muhammad Ali, and Joe was kind of pushed aside. And I saw that, and it became an extraordinary piece of information for me, and a sadness that this had managed. Well, the Bum of the Month Club, which was, the title was created by the media, of course. Joe was fighting once a month, and fighters do not do that at all anymore. They fight once or twice a year at the most. And Joe was trying to, he was literally just taking his purse and giving it to the government and to help with the armed services and help with the war effort. So it was like bonds. It's sort of a pun because he was laying bombs on people's chins. And he was going through a fighter a month. And after the end of his career, the government turned on him and charged him with taxes, tax evasion, and put him $1 million in arrears. And here he was each month giving his entire purse to the war effort. And I feel that was extremely unfair and extremely obnoxious type of thing for the government to do to somebody who was such a hero to many, many, many thousands of people in the world. In this situation here, when I see this painting, it brings back those memories of how wonderful he was and what kind of an athlete he was. And then I bought this painting at the memorial for Gauvin, and I didn't know he had done this, and I just was fascinated by it and purchased it. And Gauvin, I don't know how he got it, or he's an artist, of course, and a poet. Maybe some photographs or whatever. Or maybe Gauvin even had a little bit of Joe Louis in him. But the positioning of the left foot is very important to this painting and very important to his way of boxing, and which was a deception where you put your left foot out. You're boxing like this usually, and your left is coming over and your right is this way. And Joe would stick his left foot out like so, and any trained boxer then realized it was right hand was going to come because he was setting himself for a right hand. And Joe would put his left foot out like this, and his right paw up to the right glove up to the right, and then he would come underneath with a left hook, and it was over. Hit the speed bag. Okay. So here's Joe being used on several levels for inspiration and hope, as I've mentioned several times, and primarily a model, okay, black, white, yellow, green, whatever, a model for doing something in life, okay, being something in life. And my dad would use that, use Joe's model to help me get through life and prepare me for life. And here I was just, 10 and 11 years old in the basement with gloves on, getting punched in the nose by my dad. Okay. Joe wanted to please everybody, of course. The interesting thing with Joe Louis, in my mind, is that he was such an expert, kind of like a ring killer, okay, in that sense, and then just a gentle giant outside the ring. And I was telling you earlier, I was playing golf. I was in high school and I was playing golf, and lo and behold, the foursome behind us was included Joe Louis. This was past his prime, and they were out betting. I could tell a lot of his buddies were all betting. They were betting. I found out $1,000 a hole. Okay, and so he was out there, and they came up behind us, and we were just all fascinated by Joe Louis being there. And so he came up, and he said, "Do you mind if we go through you and pass through?" And we said, "Oh, go right ahead, fine, go right ahead." And the hi Joe, we all did that, and he kind of like nodded. And then he hit away, and everybody else, and they started leaving, and he took a $100 bill out of his pocket and gave us $100 saying thank you. And off he went. He said, spend it wisely. I remember him saying that. So that was a neat little piece. And that was the last, that's a nice way to end this discussion about Joe.